Hi, Cheryl from Mind Body Movement here. I'm going to do some walking explorations. This has come about because I was doing some over Zoom with a client the other day and promised to record and send to the recording, but I can't find it. I don't know what's happened to it. So I said that I would do an extra recording. So we were doing these experiments and the pain and the tightness that she had been feeling in her back melted away as we were doing this. I think one of the main reasons for that is moving differently, varying movement, and perhaps interrupting a feedback loop that's there in the habit, doing something different, allowing it to settle, and then finding that somehow a little bit of tension that was there has melted away, or something that you were doing on one side and you weren't doing on the other, you've somehow become aware of it. Anyway, I don't know how it happens, but it does seem to quite often work. So I'm going to invite you to do some walking with me. So sorry, I'm going to turn my back on you. So I hope you can still hear me. So we're going to just walk normally, and it's quite a good idea if you can do this. Find a corridor or a long room or even your garden, and you're just going to walk up and down and remember how you walk, because suddenly when you're asked to walk, we kind of forget how we do it and we start wondering what our normal habits are. So try not to think about it too much. So I'm going to ask you to do various things, but only on one side. So we're going to start with the left leg, and what I'd like you to do is hitch that leg or hitch the hip up towards the waist as you walk. So we're only doing this one-sided. I know it looks weird. We're just hitching the left leg. Taking the hips closer to the ribs. So just notice what it feels like to take that hip up to the waist. Notice how the waist shortens on that side. You might notice the waist lengthening on the opposite side, and perhaps you notice a stiffening in the right leg. So I normally do this when I'm playing around with this by myself. I normally do it in counts of 8 or 16. So I haven't been counting. So when I get to the door, I'm going to stop. And then just walk normally. Just do your normal walk, relax. Notice if anything settles. Notice if anything feels slightly different. And then we're going to do that on the other side. So this time the right leg. And see if you can get into a bit of a rhythm. Just hitching the right hip towards the waist. Okay, noticing how you lean over to the left. You stiffen the left leg. And the waist on the right hand side becomes shorter. Okay, did one side feel more comfortable than the other? It might be that you have a subtle underlying pattern that is kind of similar to this, where one side is doing something slightly different from the other. Okay, just relax off. And just notice what happens differently in the legs and the hips and around the waist when you tell yourself to relax off and return to normal walking. So that's the first experiment. So let's now do the second one. So for the second one, what you're going to do is you're going to again start with the left leg, and you're going to throw the leg out in front of you. So what you're aiming to do, it's almost like you're kicking out in front of you. Your toes will be coming up towards your face and your hip will come forward in space, okay? So it's like this. Straightened leg, the toes coming up towards the face, and the hip being thrown forward. So there's a slight twist to this one. And then relax off. So I can feel some subtle differences. I've just been sitting down doing something at the computer. I can feel some subtle differences on this side after doing that. So now the right side, throwing the leg, feeling that the hip and the leg are coming forward in space each time. And then relax off. Okay, again, something is unwinding, something is settling down. That was a little bit sort of gripped and tight around my waist and lower back. Okay, so the final thing that you're going to do is you're going to literally shift the hips, but only over to one side. So again, I'm going to start on the left. Allow my hips to shift over to the left and allow all my weight to transfer down through my left foot. So there's really no weight on the right. So again, it's one-sided. Shifting the hips. And obviously, all of these movements that you do, you're going to do with no pain, no strain, no forcing. And then just return to normal walking. Okay, right side. So it's that lateral shift. Allowing the hips to shift. And then return to normal walking, just let everything settle. Okay, something for the shoulders. You're now going to circle in gentle backward circles, just with the left. So try and synchronise it somehow with you walking. And just feel how the shoulder blade is slightly lifting upwards and then sliding down the back. Can you make a round circle, or is it more like a 50 pence piece? Can you round it out? Can you smooth it out? Relax off and just let your collarbones widen. Let your shoulder blades slide down your back and just notice if there's a difference between the left and right. I can certainly feel one. It feels different, it feels looser on the left. Let's try that on the right, circling. And then just relax off. Forget about what you're doing, maybe just shake your arms, have a little wiggle, shake your body. And now just try to integrate all of those things that we just did into your walk. So I'm going to do it more subtly this time. There's the idea of that first hip movement where the hips were going up and down. So can you encourage a gentle up and down motion in your hips? So you're not trying to do anything forceful or uncomfortable. Keep it nice and comfortable. And then can you think about the hips moving forward in space and freeing yourself in the sides and at the back so that hip can stride forward in comfort. It's not being held too tight by the back. Can you do that on both sides? So we were very one-sided. How does it feel to do that on both sides? Throwing your leg forward. We were exaggerating with the foot pointing, but really what I want you to have a sense of is lengthening out the leg with each stride and really walking through the foot. So feel how your hips are encouraged to move forwards and backwards. And finally, just think about that side to side motion of the hips. Up and down, side to side, forward and back. So you've got the hips flowing and moving. And we've got a phone call. Typical. Right, I'm going to stop.